In the lee of a picturesque ridge lies a small, unpretentious winery, one that pampers its fruit like its own bebes. Hi, I'm Moira Rose, and if you like fruit wine as much as I do, then you'll love the 1 Hour, One Brain Cell podcast. Welcome into episode 35 ? I think it's 35 of the 1 Hour, One Brain Cell podcast. As always, I am joined today by my co-host Herb Ertlinger.
And I am joined by my co-host, who is currently, for our audio listeners, wearing the jersey of the GOAT, Tom
The
Brady.
GOAT, Thomas Edward Patrick Brady. Yes.
We are recording during the second wave of football, the afternoon football games on week 1 of the NFL season. So we cannot listen to Tom. We are not listening, at least right now, to Tom Brady's commentary. He's making his commentary debut today. Because Fox paid out the ass for him. So,
well, wouldn't you, right? Like an opportunity to have one of the greatest of all time do analysis in your booth. You're like, might as well. He's better than Chris Collinsworth.
oh yes, absolutely, so true. I was complaining.
So here's a guy.
I was complaining.
Max volume.
I was complaining on Thursday while watching the opener with the Chiefs. I was complaining to Corey and Scotty about how Chris Collinsworth just will not get off of the Patrick Mahomes slobber train. Truly,
yes.
everything he does
is
the great.
Crazy. Yeah,
that man loves himself some quarterbacks.
Mostly, I was gonna say mostly just Patrick Mahomes, but he also used to really like Tony Romo.
Yes,
which is strange, but anyway. I was like, I don't know why anybody really liked that guy, but sure. Anyway, yeah, we're if you can't tell, we're a little excited about week 1 of the NFL season. We've both got fantasy football squads this year. I had one last year. I think I ended up finishing 3rd in my league, and that was accidentally employing the 0 running back strategy because my starters were Alexander Madison and Miles Sanders, which, if you know anything about fantasy football running backs, that is an absolute dumpster fire. And it never got better. It only got worse. And it was a miracle that I managed to even contend for playoffs with the state of that team at the end of the year. I was running like Jalen Warren RB1. So this year, potentially much better. And I have rostered one of Richie's favorite players in Puka Nacua. So we're both excited for that this year.
Yes, absolutely. Whose jersey I don't own, by the way. I need to. It's on my list, but it's so expensive. It's like $200. I already have future Hall of Famer Aaron Donald and future Hall of Famer Cooper Kupp as my jersey collection on the current Rams roster. So I don't need to add any more anytime soon.
That's fair enough. I've got I'm running with the white because I wanted one of each color. So I was running with the white Brady jersey and then the navy blue Rob Gronkowski. But all the previous Patriots era, because these new jerseys with the stripes on the shoulders are not it. They're gross and I don't like them. Get rid of them. Get rid of them.
That's funny. I told you before, so I should have brought out my Sam Bradford jersey, which I never wear for obvious reasons.
Well, I don't know. It was a kind of a strange era with that trade. The I don't know, the whole thing. Anyway, the Rams.
The Rams, yes. So true.
Anyway, the Rams, yeah. The second stint in LA for the Rams, more successful than the first. So
much more. Thank you, Sean McVay. Hallelujah.
Yeah, I guess. Anyway, that's probably enough of that because all of you that listen to this podcast probably don't care about sports that much. I get that. No, I get that general sense. That's like people that are here for the podcast are here for all of the other nonsense and not really the Major League Baseball or National Football
Nah,
League discussion.
yeah,
Yeah.
no, that's so true.
Like maybe we'll
There's a
allow
reason.
Formula One because I think that's
There's a
gone
reason
mainstream
why.
enough.
Yeah, there's a reason why our the name of our Formula One segment is Formula One Hour, Formula One Brain Cell.
It makes sense. It just makes sense.
Hey,
And I think
Lewis
like
was at the U.S. Open this week,
he was with Noah Lyles. That was fun.
and
It
Anna
was a fun
Wintour.
crossover. That was a well. He goes to the Met Gala, but like he was pretty much probably just securing his invite for next year. But I don't know. That's a weird crossover. Noah Lyles is a strange crossover, but Lewis and Anna Wintour is like a really weird crossover. You're like,
Right.
like, I know he's very fashion forward and very conscious, but like such a strange thing to be pictured with. Anyway, what do we want to start with this week? Because we have a lot of, as usual, completely disjointed bullet points on this podcast.
Dealer's choice. You go first.
All right. Let me. I'll throw you. I'll pitch you one first. Talk about Richard's water crisis.
Oh yeah. Okay. Truly a wild week here at the Richie estate. Because in the span of about 72 hours or so, I had no running water for about 30 plus of those hours.
What happened? Did Oh, I guess you sent me that picture, but did you figure out if it was like a water main or
Yeah,
something
it was like
that?
there was a massive like plumbing break that happened, and so much so that over the course of 2 out of 3 days they had to spend the entire day fixing it, so I didn't have any water. I was at the radio station on both days, so I wasn't home all day, which was nice. But anyway, y'all can see that
Oh,
that is the hole that is currently outside my apartment building.
that would eat a car.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So I told Jordan that I had some that I was gonna jump into the random hole outside my apartment building. My intrusive thoughts.
And then I sent you back the picture of Taylor Swift diving under the stage at the Eras tour.
Yes, exactly. But so here's the thing that really sucks about this, which was really annoying. Not only not having running water was as bad as that was. On Thursday night, was that one night? Yeah, Thursday night. Thursday night, because I was at the
dates.
Yeah. I can't even remember. Anyway, I think it was on Thursday night where the water was working most of the day, and so I was like, oh, you know what you do is wash some clothes. So, what's happening behind you?
There's
Are you okay?
What appears to be. Okay, I thought it was an ice cream truck because like when they roll by and they're playing the music, it's just somebody really loudly listening to music in my parking lot, and I'm trying to figure out what song it is, but I thought it was the ice cream truck at first. It's definitely like a rap song though.
If it was the ice cream truck, I never would have saw you again. You would have ran downstairs.
No, I would have immediately disappeared.
Gone a SpongeBob lollipop.
Yeah, I would have got one of those like completely malformed Spider-Man ones. It's got like one eye down at the bottom. Like, well, it's red. Everybody could tell what it is. Yeah.
Yes.
Unfortunately, I don't think that's true. I think it's just somebody listening to music in my parking lot, but they rolled in with that. I was like, hello?
That was funny. That was like I don't think I've ever seen you divert your attention quicker to something.
Like
that's
like squirrel.
Yeah, it's like that squirrel. It's like that squirrel meme, where that they used to see like with Bruce Arians all the time or whatever, and it's just the quick like turn.
Oh yeah. Is it a squirrel? It's a rodent mammal of some variety.
Yeah. Yes. I thought it was
it's a full it's a groundhog or a prairie dog or a squirrel or something. Yeah. That one.
Exactly.
It might be a gopher because I get the sense that they play it on the video board at the Minnesota college football games. I might be. Hold on, I might be wrong. I'm gonna Google that though.
Yeah, look it up while I get back into
Yeah,
my
finish your thing. I'm sorry I
my
derailed you.
terrible story. Um, yeah. So I go to wash my clothes on Thursday night, I think, and and the water pressure, like filling up the washing machine, is a little screwy. It's like, all right, that's fine, whatever. I'll just deal with it. It'll work. And then about 2 minutes into it, like filling up, the water stops and the water gets shut off. And so I go, uh-oh, that's not good. No more water. Um, and so I was like, okay, well, it's probably just like they'll probably just like the same thing. They probably have shut it off or something, and they'll get it back on like an hour or whatever. So my first thought is obviously like, okay, now what the hell do I do with this my damp ass clothes with like a puddle of water at the bottom?
Yeah.
And so I took all of the clothes out of the washer and I just put them in the dryer and I just dry them to get them dry. And so I had I don't know how much water was at the bottom of the washing machine. And I was like, okay, well now what do I do to get rid of the water? Because do I like try and run the rest of the cycle, but I don't know how the cycle works. I don't know if it like needs to have a certain water line to go or does it go by a timer? I don't know that. I don't know how I don't know if there was a setting that I could just use to um like clean out the rest of the water that's in there to flush out the water. I was like, so what the hell do I do? So I'm like, shit, I can't have like standing water in my washing machine. That's gonna get really bad really quickly. And
Grab a
so I was
bucket
like,
and
okay,
start
well,
bailing.
so what do I do? And I was like, all right, well, I'll just grab a bunch of washcloths and like a towel or like a towel I had, and I just like soaked up this freaking water for 45 minutes straight to get it out. It took forever. And it was just like me, like, dabbing, going over to my sink in my bathroom, squeegee, back over, squeegee again. It took about 45 minutes. I finally got her.
How much
Go,
water was in there? Like how many inches of standing water was that? Like a
oh, it
lot?
wasn't that bad. No, it wasn't that bad.
Okay.
It was like a little puddle size, but it just
Okay.
could only hold so much water in these like washcloths, obviously. So,
Yep.
um, so it took me 45 minutes and I was like texting Corey at the time. I was like, this sucks. This is stupid. I can't get a hold of the maintenance people because like they were getting overwhelmed with calls. They didn't never send out an email because it was a week or yeah, because it was like after hours. And so like I had no idea what was going on. I was like, oh. And so I was texting Corey and Corey came up with a genius idea. I was like, hey, do you have um this certain thing on your thing? I was like, I think so. So I sent her a picture of it and she was like, you can just like go over to I forget what it's called or whatever, but like turn it to where you can get rid of all the water. I was like, oh, I'm so freaking stupid. So I
Oh, it's
spent
like a
45
like a
minutes.
drain like a drain setting on your washer?
Yeah, basically, yeah. It's a drain setting. It's
Wow.
on my thing, it just says spin. So it didn't say spin/drain, it just says spin. And so I put it on the spin cycle and that got rid of it. And so I wasted 45
Nice.
minutes of my evening cleaning up water that I did not need to clean up.
Yeah, but now you know. It's like cleaning the lint trap. Now you know.
Yeah. Now for the next time. Oh, so that actually came up again this week because um,
Oh no.
again, yeah, they're Corey, Scotty, and our friend Fern were giving me crap again because they were like, "Oh yeah, we were, they were Corey and Scotty were out of town for a while, and they were like, "Oh yeah, we remembered to take out the lint trap," and I was like, "I just haven't done that in a month again. I haven't done that in a long time."
You're like, and you're never gonna live that down, like as long as we all remember collectively that you didn't know how to do it.
No, I mean, I probably should do it again. It's been a month. But I'll get to it. I'll get to it after the show if my ADHD mind remembers to do it.
That's fit. Well, but there's the 8:20 football game. There's a lot to happen tonight still. So
Exactly. And as soon as this is over, I basically have to shower and head to the radio show. So
It's not getting done
Probably
tonight.
not.
I can tell you that. It's not getting done.
Not getting done. No.
I don't know. Like the worst part about not I don't know, maybe the worst part. The worst part about not having water for an extended period of time, because we didn't have it for like, I don't know, 20 hours that time that all of the power in the city went
Right.
out. And I was lucky because there were people that didn't have it for days at a time. But one of the worst things is like you can't flush the toilet, you can't take a shower, like even running water to try and brush your teeth is like beyond that. So you have to, use a water bottle or use your Brita filter and fill a cup or something crazy. But doing that for any extended period of time is so tedious. But it does make you think about the amount of water that you use on a regular basis, because it's probably more than you think.
Yes, that's so true.
I
'Cause
Googled while you were doing that, and I
yeah.
did not get a conclusive answer about whether it's a gopher or not. If you Google it, it does say that the University of Minnesota put a dramatic gopher up on the Jumbotron. But then if you Google dramatic gopher, it comes up as dramatic chipmunk. And then in the description of dramatic chipmunk, it says the video is a 5-second clip of a prairie dog turning it. So no one knows what kind of animal this is, even Google. So it's a rodent mammal of some sort.
That's too funny.
Case closed.
Good work. Crack staff on top of things today.
Yep. Absolute detective work. Okay. Where are we going? Where are we going with this? Let's go to the internet detective work. Here's a thing that I found this week. I don't know if you've opened this link yet
I haven't watched it yet, but I have it pulled up.
You have it pulled up. Okay, so this came up randomly on my For You page, which you and I have both discussed that collectively I think we're building the most cursed For You page that the algorithm has probably ever seen. And this came up unprompted on my For You page. And this is how I found out that Safelite has different jingles everywhere in the world for auto glass repair.
Auto glass repair, auto glass replace. Safelite repair, Safelite replace. Carglass popravi, Carglass zamieni. Carglass repair, Carglass replace. Carglass paigaldab, Carglass parandab. Carglass korjaa, Carglass vaihtab. Carglass repart, Carglass remplace. Carglass repariert, Carglass tauscht aus. Carglass repariert, Carglass tauscht aus. Carglass repariert, Carglass tauscht aus. Carglass επισκευάζει, Carglass αντικαθιστά. Carglass Jobbit, Carglass cheril. Carglass repara, Carglass sustituisce. Carglass remontas, Carglass quitimas. Carglass reglas, Carglass ersetzt. Carglass repariert.
Shout out to the Dutch.
Dutch is such an unserious language. No, it's like, this is like Eurovision for me personally. Some countries have more than one also, as we heard, but some of them take a complete 180 from the base Safelite repair, Safelite replace. Croatia, Eurovision. Put that in Eurovision. I think it was Luxembourg that sounds like elevator music, like Muzak, smooth jazz. So, I mean, some people are going crazy with it, but this is a thing that I didn't know. And I guess I should have anticipated, because if you think about it, like if you say Safelite repair, Safelite replace, and the company Safelite does not exist in your country, and also everyone's word for replace is different, it like has to be different per country. But it's just it's a thing that you don't think about, because I'm like, I got like the Shane Company script memorized, but the Shane Company script is different in every state in the United States that one exists. It's
1 mile south of Tacoma.
Yes. The Shane, now you have a friend in the diamond business. The Shane Company on Scottsdale Road, Tacoma, 1 mile south of Bell Road. Open weekdays till 8, Saturday, Sunday till 5. Online at shaneco.com. And if you grew up in the Phoenix metro area, it's in your bones. That's in your bones. You know that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I didn't think about it. So now I'm interested in like going down the rabbit hole of like what other jingles are different in other countries.
I
What could be
also
a
took
banger?
away I also took away from that most countries don't have words for car glass because all of them
Yeah. It's true. They're all like car glass. And like that's the word. It's like car glass, just car glass. I guess that makes more sense though. You know what I mean? Because like if you didn't know what Safelite was, that would have no appeal to you.
Right.
Like that brand, that's such a general thing too, is like everybody knows that when you ask for a Kleenex, you want to be handed a tissue, but like Kleenex is the brand name. So if you have no idea what Kleenex is, that doesn't make any sense to you. That's like a vernacular like commoditization thing. It's like you ask for a Band-Aid, not an adhesive bandage, or a Q-tip
Right.
and not like a cotton swab or whatever it is.
Right.
I don't know. It's a thing. So now I'm interested. That might be a rabbit hole for me this week about Eurovision of brand jingles.
The fact that they came up on your for you page is wild.
There's been wilder stuff that's come up on my For You page, like just this week. I think I showed you some after the episode last week when we were in like that dead time waiting for the episode to load. It was like a goose running in the woods recorded on low quality camera set to Lana Del Rey, Salvatore. That's the kind of stuff that comes up on my For You page. And I built it brick by brick to be that way. But it is funny. Like I sent you today, we got on our brand account on YouTube, the 1 Hour 1 Brain Cell account, a Chapel Roan Hot to Go parody exclusively about Home Depot. And the creator had gone, it's the funniest part about it is that it's not AI or anything. It's literally just one guy singing as best as he possibly can. But they've gone and like edited the album artwork and put Chapel in the Home Depot vest, and then it says, "Hi, my name is Chapel" on it. And I'm like, you went to all that effort, and it's just a guy out here doing his best, and it's objectively funnier that way.
And it's so good. Take that, Weird Al. Take that.
It's true. The creativity of people that were Gen Z and raised on internet memes is just unparalleled. You remember YouTube poop? This is a completely different track, but like they used to call it YouTube poop, and it was like somebody that would take a movie and then just make like, I think they maybe call them crack now, like crack edits, but they just like take a movie and chop it up to the point where it like makes no sense at all and like smash it together. And there's one of Moana that somebody's called Mom, and they've edited like every time they talk about Maui so that it sounds like they're saying mom, but just they take the whole thing and make it out of context. So I'll send it to you because it's worth a watch. But I remember there was one of Mulan when I was a kid that still makes me cry laughing to this day. And it's basically just the matchmaker part where she's having like a time pouring the tea, and then there's the cricket and like the whole deal, you know. You've seen Mulan, right?
It's been
Before I start going on this.
It's been like 20 years.
Okay. I'll send it to you because it is. And then there's also one of Hercules that they call Huncules, but they just make a complete mockery of it in editing. But anyway, it's like that. But people are just doing that for music now, which is fair.
Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea what you're talking about. That's a YouTube hole I've never been down. Which shows you the difference between me being a millennial and you being Gen Z. So blame you and your dang Gen Z kids for that.
I knew you were going to do that to me.
That's your generation, not mine.
Oh, okay. It's my generation's fault. Sure, old man. Okay, boomer.
No, not boomer. Not boomer.
Okay, boomer.
Not boomer.
Right.
As I wear my 20-plus-year-old Mark Bolger jersey.
Right. I was like,
It
hold
still
on.
fits me too.
Hold
Like
on,
in
boomer.
case, yeah, it's like this still like fits like perfectly. And I bought this when I was like a teenager for $30. It was $30 in the clearance rack, and it's like it's the actual like authentic. Like
It's still in good
jersey.
shape too. Like a lot of the jerseys around that time that they had that awful screen printing where like if you put them through the dryer even once, they would like all the print would explode.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes. So maybe I am old, but I'm not a boomer. My back hurts every time I stand up from sitting down from too long, but I'm not a boomer. Okay.
Okay, boomer. I'm about to take this boomer to go stand in general admission pit at the end of the month, and we'll see how well that goes. We're both gonna be out there like, oh my god, why did we do that?
Bring the icy hot, dude. Come on, bring the icy hot.
Yeah,
we'll be in there with a bunch of teenagers, and we'll be, here's a great plan. I have a great plan for us. Are you ready for this?
What's your plan? Let's hear it. Yeah,
the plan is okay. So we're gonna get there super early. Obviously, plan number one, obviously, to get barricade. But the big difference is so that way we don't have people like cramming up super close to us. We just lather on the icy hot on our lower back, and then all the teenagers
smell like icy hot in the front row.
Yes, and then all the other teenagers are like, what the hell is this old person smell? And then they like back off from us. And so we just kind of get more space. Isn't that genius?
That it might be halfway smart. I'll be honest with you. It's not the worst smell in a pit. That's not the worst smell that will exist.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah.
I guarantee you. Yeah. It's easier to be up front. Logistically, it's easier to be up front because then if people push into the back of you, you're like, dude, there's nowhere for me to go. Like we're all where we're at. If you're behind somebody trying to get forward, that sucks because then people are pushing you forward from the back as well. But if you don't want to be in elbows with somebody else because that's the worst time. If you got somebody shoulder to shoulder with you and you got to spend a whole concert like this, that's the worst. It's like you need to be in the front so that you can stake your space and like box people out with your feet. It's a whole deal. Get the elbows out, get the box out happening. We're posting up. This rebound is mine.
Okay, Leah Boston.
Okay, yeah, I've learned from the best out there.
What the hell were we talking? I don't even know what the hell we were talking about. I
don't know.
One brain cell, dude. We have no.
Yeah. Usually we only do this on our Monday episodes when like we've completely lost the plot and it's been over a week and we're like, what is happening? What time is it? Recording after dark. But this is new ground for a Sunday that we've completely lost the plot here. But let's circle back on music. We'll realign here. We have the last row of our Julian Baker song rankings to complete.
That's
week.
True. Yes, we have 2 more categories to get through. We have 2.
And I believe one of the categories is like worst song, which isn't.
Yes.
No, we already had that, but either way,
so
there's
most
one
overrated
worst album. Worst album's not getting an answer.
Most overrated and worst album we're gonna skip because they also skipped those on the JB Red. They didn't answer, so we're gonna stick to most underrated album and best album for this episode of the show.
Okay. I usually go first on these. Do you want to go first?
I'll go first. This is actually kind of tough. I was thinking about this yesterday because I knew these were coming up, and I listened to actually, surprisingly, I listened to a lot of Turn Out the Lights this weekend, like this past week, like because I was like, oh, I need to start preparing for the show, start listening to the JB like on a consistent basis. So I was like, hey, automated AI on my phone, of which I will not say,
because she'll turn on and be like, what can I help you with? Yeah,
play Julian Baker. And so I was listening to JB on shuffle this week, and so I listened to a lot of Turn Out the Lights this week. And so I was like, okay, comparing Turn Out the Lights to Little Oblivions. And so that was like the main crux of my argument in terms of these 2 categories and why. So this is not like favorite album, which I think you can argue would be most underrated. But anyway, okay. So most underrated is Turn Out the Lights for me.
Mm-hmm.
And best album is Little Oblivions. Agree?
Okay.
Disagree?
I definitely agree with you on most underrated. Because I think I'm even guilty of this, because I think if you go back and look at all my picks throughout the course of our 4 weeks or whatever to this point, I've been sort of under ranking a lot of stuff off of Turn Out the Lights, and mostly just because it's so impossible to separate a few good tracks from it because the whole thing is good. And I feel like I often just think of it as one work in its entirety versus like all the pieces that make it up. Whereas like there's a few standout tracks off of Sprained Ankle and there's a few standout tracks off of Little Oblivions, but Turn Out the Lights as a whole is maybe in my opinion like the most well-rounded complete work. I don't know if anybody else would agree with that, but that's sort of the way that I perceive it. So I agree with you there. And I'm inclined to say its best album as well. I don't know if that's a cop out, but
No,
maybe for
absolutely
that
not.
same
Because
maybe for that same reason.
yeah, I adore that album, and it's
Yeah.
my favorite one. It's the one I think I probably go back to the most among the three. And the reason why I put Little Oblivions as the best is because of something we've talked about on this show before, which is like all the production that went into it. In so far as like she taught herself percussion for the record, right? And it was all self-produced, and it was taking what she had in those first couple of albums and again like kind of taking it up a notch and taking it to the next level, and becoming a more well-rounded musician and songwriter, etc., etc. Plus, I mean, it's got some like terrific songs. It's got one of her best songs in her entire discography. It's got Favor on there, like, and
Which
you put,
the JB Reddit called out as most overrated song, and I disagree wholeheartedly with.
which is that's stupid. I disagree with
Yeah,
that completely.
that's dumb.
Absolutely.
I like where you're at there, because you really can, from the beginning to now, you can sonically hear the evolution of the artist to the point where we're at today. And Little Oblivions also lends itself really well to a full live band, in a show, which is also huge.
Yes, I'm excited to see like get some of these songs with the band and experience it live. Like that's going to be so cool, because it's anytime we've watched JB perform solo shows before, like her normal music like gets amped up a bunch because she's playing them with the full band instead of just her and a guitar, etc., etc. So that would be exciting. Like you shared with me this week that Matthew Gilliam was preparing with what did he have? He had like jingle bells.
They were like sleigh bells. Yeah, they were
Yeah.
they were bells that he had, I don't know, like kebabbed, skewered, totem poled up on a drum, on a cymbal, on a hi-hat, on the drum kit, and was gonna have it like hooked up to a pedal. There's been all kinds of crazy stuff coming out from him about like things that they're trying and new innovations and new sounds that they're gonna bring to the set, which I think is gonna be so awesome.
So cool. I was complaining to you the other day that I was like, oh man, I got to start cramming for the show, because I always do that for a show. Like you got to cram, you got to make sure you learn as many as lyrics as possible. I was complaining once again, because I always do this multiple times. I've done this. I think I did this maybe I did it for Coin or something. There was another show that we went to where like it was the first show of the tour, and I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what to do with my hands. I don't know what the set list
I think
is.
that was Coin, or it was really early on in the tour, if nothing else. But I think that might have been the first show.
I think
you're right.
I think it was Coin. So I was like, so it's the same thing with here, JB. So we're the second show of the tour. And so like right now we don't know what it is. And so I'm like, oh, what do I do? I have to go through and listen to all these songs and thing and try to learn. I was like, oh, it's stressing me out, blah 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 blah.
You're gonna
There
be
are a
fine.
few
I guarantee
there are a
you're
few
gonna be
things
fine.
that stress me out more than not knowing a set list for a show.
See, I'm the complete opposite. I think we've talked about this on the show
Yes, we
before.
have. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, I'm not gonna let it stress me out because I feel confident that I know enough of it that it's gonna be fine. I don't know. And I like to be surprised. That's the biggest thing is like I don't want to know what's coming. Because
Mhm.
if you get into a show and then that's like the gift of it all is you get into a show and you hear something that's like one of your favorite songs and you didn't know they were
Right.
gonna play your favorite song. It's a core memory. That's what Taylor Swift does so well with all of her surprise songs is like you never know what you're gonna get, and sometimes you get Picture to Burn, and it's incredible. Speaking from experience, I will never forget that. We got Picture to Burn and Back to December on the same night. We're like, what did we do to
I'm still
deserve
jealous.
that?
Corey and I are still jealous of your surprise songs that you got because ours were like kind of weak, a little weak.
They're all, I
Yeah.
mean, they're all good in their own way. But now,
Yes,
now she's thrown all the rules out the window, by the way, and is like, I can play it as many times as I want, and I'll mash it up with other things, and we'll get like 4
right.
songs in there. You're like, wait a minute, that wasn't the rules.
That's not. You can't change that midstream.
Changing the rules halfway through the tour. I don't know. Let her do what she wants.
What are you expecting to hear on? Are you expecting? Are you expecting any new music to be played from JB? Are we getting some unreleased music?
I'm leaning toward yes at the moment, but like maybe one new track, or even if it's not a new track, maybe it's a single, maybe it made it on the B-sides or whatever, that it's not commonly played, or maybe we'll get some covers of other songs that are not her own. But I think there's definitely going to be something included that's not contained in that current discography. Because I don't imagine, I don't know, I struggle to understand what would have propelled and sort of compelled her to go on this mini tour unless there was something she was looking to share just as a solo artist, understanding that there was so much success with Boy Genius, or she could have been an addendum to another artist, like going on tour with the National, like as accompaniment, but doing her own headlining mini tour, there's got to be something she wants to share. And even if there's not, it's still going to be cool regardless. There's no pressure to release new music if you go on a tour, but I don't know. I think it'll be cool. You know what? Here's, I'll get your opinion on this. My gripe is that Chapel needs to hurry up and release Subway, or I'm going to throw myself onto the Subway tracks, because we've been hearing that unreleased song for like months now. Like, come on, girl, get it in the works, get it in mastering, because we're all ready for it.
So true.
Anyway, do you think there's gonna be new stuff on this mini tour?
I do. I think we're getting something. We're getting some sort of surprise for sure. Because there's been rumors for the longest time that her and Torres, who is an artist out of Nashville, have been working on something together. People believe it to be some sort of a country album that they've been working on for a while and have recorded, and they just haven't released yet. And so I wonder if that has something to do with it. Side note, she hasn't. JB has not put out who the opener is going to be.
Right.
If I had my one pick of who I'd want it to be, it would be Torres, because Torres is great. I don't know if you've listened to any of her music, but it's great. I actually listened to Torres's album a decent amount, like when she first put it out a couple months ago, and it's so good. Like, highly recommend. So I hope Torres is the opener, and then they play like one of their songs. But who knows? We'll see.
That'd be cool. I like that. I think there's potential for it to be a super cool like co-headliner experience in that way. It's like bring somebody on that you're going to collaborate with actively in the future, and then bring them back out and do a song with them in the main set or something like that. Introduce people to a new artist.
Yeah. This is real quick. This is what the JB Reddit chose. This is all of their picks combined. So they picked.
I love the giant red X's. It's like, we're not picking most overrated. We're not picking worst. That doesn't exist.
Little Oblivions, most underrated, sprained ankle, best album. Those are what they chose. So 2 weeks away now. By the time everybody hears this, less than 2 weeks away.
Yeah, that's crazy. Time is so not real in that way.
It doesn't exist.
Time doesn't exist. Time's not real. Clocks are real. Time's not real. Anyway, let's finish, I guess, with our other event of the week. We both saw yesterday Beetlejuice Beetlejuice. Thoughts?
Correct. 4 stars on Letterboxd is, I think, the one and only time we gave a movie the exact same rating.
We did. We agreed. We agreed on something.
Which I was like, when I got out of the theater, and I was like, damn, that movie was super fun. I really enjoyed that. I'm like, I'm gonna give this movie 4 stars. And I was like, Jordan and I finally agreed on a movie, and so she's not gonna roast me this time.
I mean, it's true. I don't think it goes any higher than 4. You know what I mean? Like, some movies have potential where you're like, I could give it another half star, maybe. This one I think is a solid 4. I think a lot of people are probably going to put it in a 3.5. It was fun though. It was a lot of fun. It was exactly what it needed to be. And I'll give it points for this because it's something that a lot of reboots have been doing nowadays, is that it was really its own story. There wasn't a lot of like fan service in the plot. Like, sure, we brought back the characters and we with the understanding of what happened in the first movie, but there were so many opportunities where they could have leaned it into being fully fan service and they didn't do it.
Right.
And I respected that, I think.
Right. Yeah, I think like the movie as a whole was like, I was thinking about this last night too. I was like, that movie is like, so I thought the humor was like very much the type of humor that you and I enjoy, which is just like kind of like this like silly, like visual gag humor that just like works so well throughout the entire movie. And like and the theater I saw it, I was actually pretty packed, and a bunch of families and whatnot were there. And there were a couple times where I was like cracking up laughing and nobody else was, which was really funny. Like it's some more like the more like visual, like almost like horror style visual gags that they did kind of throughout the movie. But yeah, I was like, damn it, that was exactly what I wanted in this movie. It's like Tim Burton just going full Tim Burton and just weird, quirky. The cast was great. Like everybody was so good in this movie. And all the practical effects were really cool, and like it was so good. And like it was it's one of those movies that like is like just highly rewatchable too. I think there's a lot of rewatch value, much like the first Beetlejuice too. Like that movie, I went back and rewatched that for the first time in a few years, before I went and saw the sequel. And I was like, man, that movie was, I don't remember that movie being as funny as it was, but the original. And watching as an adult now, like, man, there's some actual like really funny like adult humor type scenes in that movie. And it's the same thing with the sequel too. And so I really enjoyed it, and I loved Willem Dafoe's character the entire every time he'd show up on screen, he would crack me up in some way, shape, or form or another. There's one scene in particular that was like where it's not. I'm just gonna say it's not truly a spoiler, but anyway, it kind of is. But it's the gag with the cue cards.
Oh yeah. Yep.
The gang with the cue cards just like ruined me.
I
the coffee
died
cups
laughing. Yeah, and it was the coffee cups. It was every time the secretary came in and handed him a cup of coffee, and then the bit where he like squeezed the cup and threw it on the ground into the trash, and you could see that there were like about 100 other crushed coffee cups there. Like, it's perfect. It's perfect. And like Willem Dafoe is also so good at that role, when traditionally we've been used to seeing him at a lot more dramatic things.
Mm-hmm.
But like letting him just be weird and funny and lean into that was such a good call. The whole thing was weird and funny. That's what people love about Beetlejuice, is like it just leaned into being super strange and weird and visually funny. And like you said, I think we enjoy that style.
There's a couple other scenes that just really just sent me as well. But we won't spoil it for the good people. Just go see the movie.
Yeah. I will say don't go into it expecting plot perfection, because there were some things in there that were like, this feels a little half-baked. Like it was the whole thing with Monica Bellucci's character.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like also banger introduction to that character, like so
That was
cool.
cool.
Like the intro
Yeah.
scene for that character was so cool. Half-baked plot, but I get it, right? Because if you're Tim Burton and you're like dating Monica Bellucci, you're like, put her in everything I'm doing. Say less. I get it. I mean, shoot,
Right.
do the whole film in random flashbacks entirely in Italian. Because that was
Oh my God,
funny.
that was so good. I was cracking up the entire time. It made no sense. No sense.
Like, how do you come up with that? But it was so funny. It was so funny.
I'm so glad you mentioned that, because I think that was the one scene where like I was dying laughing and nobody else was, because it was just so like, it was Tim Burton. It just made no sense to do it that way, but it was so good.
Well, like the reason I bring it up is because I sat there for like the first 30 to 45 seconds trying to understand if it was Brazilian Portuguese. It was not. It was Italian. But it was similar enough where I was like sitting there trying to figure it out, and like all the pieces were going in my brain. And I was like, there's no way, right? But then eventually you get to the point you're like, that was Italian for sure.
Yeah. The other scene that really sent me was the Soul Train scene too.
The Soul Train. The Soul Train. The use of a song that was arguably made more popular by Donna Summer was good too. That was a good choice.
Mm-hmm.
We won't spoil what song that was, but I love that song, and I have that record on vinyl. That was just the music, and the music in Beetlejuice is always good. For one reason or another, all of the needle drops are well done.
Shout out Danny Elfman, who crushed it.
That is true.
As always on the Tim Burton film.
Yep. And I also shout out, because you mentioned this, but I think it was cool to see all of the female characters get their own development and their own chunk of the plot and their own time to shine. It really centered hard on Catherine O'Hara and centered hard on Winona Ryder and centered hard on Jenna Ortega. And I get now why they've been saying through this whole press cycle, they're like, this wouldn't work without Jenna Ortega, because it really wouldn't. Mm-hmm. It wouldn't have gone over like that. But I'm glad that they let them all sort of have their flowers and have their moment, be like, this is our original trilogy and they're awesome and we should let them shine as much as possible. Even though the whole thing felt like a rejected Moira Rose subplot.
It really did.
But I think it's true. That was in my Letterboxd review. Yeah.
It was. And you nailed that too, because like the entire first like scene that she's in could have been Moira Rose, like tit for tat the entire time.
They like show her at this art gallery and she's got the visuals projected of birds. I was like, this happened during the filming of The Crows Have Eyes 3 in Bosnia.
So true.
It was so funny. She's so delightful at making a character like that.
Yes,
like,
absolutely.
Nobody else pulls it off like that. Justin Theroux was good too for his role and his part being the sort of weird comedic relief.
Another character that like every time that he opened his mouth, I was cracking up laughing.
The whole thing was very funny. Jenna Ortega was good. Jenna Ortega was far enough removed from Wednesday, but close enough in the funnel of the Winona Ryder of the original Lydia Dietz sort of Wednesday blend that it made sense.
Right.
But it wasn't a carbon copy of that character, which is kind of what I was worried about going into it. It was like, especially because I think timeline wise, it was filmed during or shortly after the filming of the Wednesday series, and it had some of the Wednesday writers on board. And I was like, please don't make this a carbon copy of that character.
Yeah, right.
But it is far enough away. Yeah. That was well done.
I agree. Is this going to be the one and only movie that we actually agree on? Will we have any more movies that we agree on?
I mean, I think we've generally agreed on the perception of a lot of movies, but not necessarily the star rating.
The same rating.
Right. Like we both agreed that we enjoyed Moulin Rouge, but I will always have that as a 5-star movie, and I understand why that's
Right.
not possible for everyone. But that one's going in my top 4 for sure. You know what I mean? It's
Right.
our general consensus has been the same before. But yes, this
Yes.
is landmark. This is groundbreaking. This is brand new for this podcast that I don't have anything to flame Richie about for his star rating.
Right.
Fair enough. We also
I will
got
mention
we got some new music coming up, by the way, as well, that we'll mention.
Yes.
But go first.
One more thing real quick. I watched A Quiet Place day 1 in between, I think, our
Ooh.
last recording and today.
How was it?
Great movie. So
Really?
good. I really,
Okay.
really liked it. Yes.
Because I liked the first one. I didn't necessarily like the second Quiet Place.
I agree.
So
The
much.
first one was better than the second one. This one was great. I really liked it a lot. It's like, 'cause it's only like, it's not like it's like a 90 minutes and you're done. And there are some really cool scenes in it. And there's an adorable cat that's at the very center of the movie. And anytime you have an adorable cat at the center of the movie, sold.
What is the cat's name? Isn't it like Frodo?
The cat's name is. Stand by. My memory's ass. In case you can't figure that out. Okay.
Boomer.
Frodo. His name is Frodo.
There you go. All right. It's like I knew it was something. The cat went on the press junket, much in the same way that Brisket went on the Twisters press junket.
Yes.
That was fun.
Yes.
That was fun. And then the birth of all the TikTok trend where it was like trying to see if my cat would survive the Quiet Place. Like when they pick them up and see if they make any noise.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
It's the most unrealistic part of the whole thing is expecting that your cat's not just going to randomly meow at you for food.
Yes, exactly.
I'm not even a cat owner and I know this. Yeah.
Frodo did well.
Nice work, Mr. Frodo. So yeah, as we mentioned, we got Road Trip coming up. I think we finally have that playlist built out to enough time that we should have enough music with no repeats to get there and back. If we add a couple things from the Beetlejuice soundtrack, which the cast recording from the musical, which I've also dared you to try and learn. That's another thing for you to cram and try and learn. So that should go well. But we do have is this the only one? Is the coin record? Because Katie Gavin's record is not going to be out yet, right?
Katie's comes out in October.
So we're just looking at maybe I'm Not Afraid of Music Anymore, which comes out this week.
Coin comes out today if you're listening to us.
Good call. Yeah.
On Friday. Yes.
Like I said, time's not real. I haven't pre-ordered that vinyl yet, so I guess we'll just see what it looks like when it comes out. But I have high hopes. They've not disappointed me yet with a record.
Yeah, so. Every clip they put out and every single they put out so far, top notch. It's gonna be a good record. I think I have good high hopes for this one.
I think so too. The singles have all been real good. It may not be Brat Summer anymore, but that doesn't mean that we can't have good music. I'll tell you this, there's a statue, and this is such a niche thing, and like I don't have photographic evidence that this exists, but like the piece of art or whatever it is that's on their album cover for this record, there's a sculpture like literally 10 minutes down the road from me that looks exactly like it, and I think about it every time I drive by it. I'm like, wait a minute, what is did you two talk about this beforehand, or like what's happening? But it's like in the middle of I can't ever get a picture of it because it's in the middle of a roundabout. So I'm like, they can't stop traffic long enough to like take a picture of it. It's a roundabout. Right. Like, anyway, I can't prove to you that it exists, but I can tell you that I've been thinking about this record for a while and I hope it's good. And we're both going to tour for that as well at various points in the near future.
The fact
When
that
is-
I had
when
to
is
buy
your-
tickets almost a year ahead of time is so crazy. They're not coming to Phoenix until February.
Yeah, mine's October, which like made sense. Yours did not
That's
make
like,
sense.
dude, it's so far apart that it's in completely different seasons.
That's true. That's so true.
So
I don't know. They just did that this week. That like we were talking about ASU Gamage, the local traveling Broadway theater and production. They just put tickets on sale for like Moulin Rouge July 2025. Like that is a full year in advance. I remember buying tickets for
right.
people a full year in advance for like The Lion King. You're like, well, how?
Mhm.
It's like you go to the dentist and they ask you, they're like, okay, so how's next June? You're like, I don't know what I'm doing. How am I supposed to buy tickets for this? I don't know what I'm doing 10 minutes from now. Like, it is what it is. Yeah, that's insane. The concert buying culture is insane. Where it's like, hey, by the way, tickets go on sale. Like, here's pre-sale. Tickets go on sale tomorrow. Good luck. And then your show's not for
Right.
another 6 to 8 months. You're like,
Right.
wait a minute. Who's got that? Who could just drop that and go? Crazy. You see people going
That's
to
so
multiple
true.
shows. You're like, I don't know how you do this. I'm employed. I
I
can't.
know.
Do
I saw
this.
there were some people, yeah, on Pilot's Twitter who were doing that. They're like, "Oh, we're going to show 15." Like, oh, okay.
Like
That's
I've been
crazy.
to
Wish I had that.
8 total over the
Yeah,
last
but not the same
8
tour.
years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I went to multiple shows of the Boy Genius tour last year,
Mm.
and that's about the one I didn't have to travel for, and then I obviously went to Red Rocks, and that's it, 2 shows, and we're
Mhm.
good.
Right. Like that's insane that people are going to more than one, but some people are going to like 3 to 5 shows per album cycle.
Mm-hmm.
Count me out. Count me out on that.
Yes.
People,
Yes.
the insane one is people going to multiple Taylor Swift shows because I know how much that costs. Mm-mm.
Not from experience or anything. Yeah, not from
No,
experience or
no,
anything.
not at all. Not at all. And the standing in the merch line for like 2.5 hours, I wouldn't know anything about that. Nope.
But Julian, if you're watching this, have an outside merch tent for your shows. That'd be great.
That would be awesome. And the 21 Pilots did this, and I like it, and I agree with it because then it doesn't make people get in a crush when they're inside about buying merch.
Mm-hmm.
It lets your GA buy merch without panicking about buying merch, which is also
Right.
a thing because sometimes you want to be in the front, but you also want the t-shirt that says I was there and I was in the front. But
Right.
most times you can't have those two things together. So artists that do outside merch tents, we love you. We appreciate that.
Yes. Yes.
So please. JB's not
Yes.
watching this.
All
JB's
right.
not our one Irish listener, but it's fine. Please.
All right. Well, hey, we can finish this up in an hour again. Amazing.
That's wonderful.
2 weeks in a row.
Yeah.
2 weeks in a row.
We're on a roll. We're so back. We're so back. All right. We'd like to thank you for joining us in finally yet another sub 1 hour episode of the 1 Hour One Brain Cell podcast. You can follow us at OHOBC Pod on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. We're on YouTube. We're not on Threads because nobody cares about Threads. But thank you for those of you that have been joining, by the way, for our video episodes and things on our channel. We see you and we see our view count going up, and we appreciate that. And all 500 of you that somehow found us on our latest YouTube short, which is insane. That's cool. I have to regretfully tell you that I won't be putting that much effort into every edit from now on because that took such a long time to mask out Richie's whole face in that whole deal. But thanks for appreciating that. And maybe I'll just make him get a green screen for next time. So yeah, for Richie, I've been Jordan. Thanks for hanging with us. We'll see you next time.